What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 8 Deaths Prediction video. This video is actually part 2, so for those of you that may have not seen my other death predictions, I will put that link down in the description just in case any of you still want to watch that one. I'm also doing a giveaway where I'm giving away 3 different prizes to 3 different winners, so you still have plenty of time to enter the giveaway if you want. That link will be down in the description also. The first place winner was already announced, and she contacted me and asked for the A Song of Ice and Fire collection, but the other 2 prizes are still up for grabs. I still have the World of Ice and Fire novel and the Game of Thrones Monopoly game to give away, so good luck to the rest of you that are participating. Now let's get started. The next character on my death list is Sansa Stark. The temporary Queen of the North will die in my opinion. I just don't see Sansa surviving this great war. I don't expect to see her on the battlefield with a sword in her hand fighting the whole time, but I believe her lack of training is going to get her killed. She does have her own protection, but they're going to be busy fighting, and I think there will come a time during this war where Sansa is going to be left defending herself. And if that happens, we all know how that's going to end. She's going to die. When I first started to watch this show, and I was introduced to the others beyond the wall in the very first episode, I knew right then that there would come a day that they would get on the other side of the wall, and they would make it to Winterfell and disrupt the life as they knew it. There's only 1 season left, so everything is going to come to a peak and reach its climax in one of the remaining 6 episodes left. The Night King and his army are already south of the wall and they're making their way south. Eventually they will make it to Winterfell, and that's where all hell is going to break loose. For some reason I have had this vision of thousands of whites pouring over the walls at Winterfell, and I've always had this vision of seeing the Night King standing right inside of Winterfell's courtyard. I think that would be absolutely terrifying, almost like the worst nightmare coming true. The name Winterfell itself has several meanings in my opinion. I have said this in other videos, but I'm going to say it again right here. I think this is where the big battle will take place. Arguably one of, if not the best battle we have ever seen, will happen at Winterfell. And this is where Winter will fall one more time, and by Winter I mean the King of Winter, the Night King. But before he falls in Winterfell, there will be a ton of casualties, and one of those casualties will be Sansa Stark. I think the entire castle will be overran with whites and White Walkers, and during the battle, Sansa will find herself having to pick up a sword and swing it or die immediately. Because Brienne and Arya and Jon and everybody else is going to be fighting, and they can't hold Sansa's hand the entire time, and her lack of training is going to get her killed. Also, I'm sure that most of you have read or heard about George R.R. Martin's original draft by now, but if you haven't, then I'm going to let you know. Back in 1993, George R.R. Martin wrote a 3-page outline, basically listing some of the key points he was going to write about when he began writing his epic fantasy novels. And in that outline, he revealed the 5 main characters that he said would survive the entire story. And guess what? Sansa Stark was not on that list. Now, George has changed a lot of this original draft since then, but some say his key characters have not changed. And if that's true, then Sansa Stark will die in his story. And since Dan and Dave are basing this show off of his story, then I can only assume they could do the same. George told the creators of the show how he was going to end his story, and they plan on making their ending very similar. The only difference was how they would get to that ending. But now we are here with only 6 episodes left. I believe they will keep and kill the same main characters as George. But who knows, I could be wrong about that too. But since I'm already talking about the Great War, let's just move on to the next character, which is the Night King himself. I know the fan base is kind of divided on how things will end, but I believe the Night King will be killed. I don't think there's going to be any kind of peace treaty or anything like that. I've always felt like the Night King would have to be killed this time for good. Like I said earlier, I think the big battle will take place in Winterfell. The reason a Stark must always be in Winterfell is for this reason, to make sure the Night King is defeated, because they always knew winter was coming, but everyone forgot what it truly meant. They didn't just mean that the winter weather was coming, it used to mean that the King of Winter from the lands of always winter was coming, and when he makes it to Winterfell, there must always be a Stark there to ensure that winter will fall and not take over the realm. There is a reason why Bran Stark and the Night King have such a strong connection, because this was always meant to happen. All of the events that have taken place in this story thus far were already predetermined. And the Night King is going to arrive at Winterfell right on time. As the Night King and his army head south, Jon and Daenerys and their forces are going north, where they will collide in the greatest war of all time, the true battle for Winterfell. But this time the Night King will be stopped for good. The Game of Thrones production crew have already started making some renovations on the Winterfell set this week. Someone snapped some photos of them rebuilding some of the castle walls, and there's only 2 reasons why I believe they're going to be doing something like this. One reason could be because Winterfell gets partially destroyed during the war, or the Starks might be building some extra defenses to help keep the others out of the castle. Either way, I do think this is a good sign that there will be a war in Winterfell, and I can't wait to see it. I made a few other separate videos this week too that some of you may have not seen yet. I made a video about the death of Varys, and I made a video about the death of Melisandre. Both of those characters are on my death list too, so check out those videos if you haven't watched them already. They did seem to get a good response from most of you, even from those of you who disagreed still seemed to enjoy the videos. I believe Daenerys Targaryen is going to die also. She wasn't in any of my death prediction videos, but I did make a video about the fate of Daenerys right before I started this series of videos. I think it's safe to say that Jon and Daenerys are the 2 big heroic characters right now, and I just don't see both of them surviving the series. Not if there's going to be a bittersweet ending. I don't think you can keep both of the main characters alive. I think that would be too happy of an ending, unless Jon and Daenerys hate each other by the end of the show, which is possible I guess, but I still feel like Daenerys will die. And I think there is a very strong possibility that she will die during childbirth while having Jon's baby. Jon and Dany's mothers both died during child labor, and I think they could have the same thing happen to Daenerys. It would be bitter to see her die before she was able to achieve her dream of ruling the 7 kingdoms, but it would be sweet to know that she gave birth to a Targaryen heir that can carry on her legacy and family name. I think she could also end up being Jon's Nissa too. If they do the whole Azor Ahai thing in the show and Jon has to plunge his sword into someone's chest to forge Lightbringer, then that person could be Daenerys or even Melisandre. I have to put Jon Royce back on my list again too. I did have him on my death list for last season, but of course he was put on the sidelines like a lot of other characters. But I have to believe with the dead marching towards Winterfell, Jon Royce will be taking part in this fight against the dead, and he will die this season. At this point, he has pretty much became a worthless character. He really serves no purpose to the story anymore since that little shit Sweet Robin has been cut out of the plot too for now. We might not see Robin again. They might not actually tie up that loose end, just like with Edmure Tully. And if this is the case, then I'm pretty confident Jon Royce will be added to the list of dead when this war is all said and done and the dust settles. I have to put Euron Greyjoy on this list too. I think there's no way in hell this maniac lives happily ever after. I made a video before Season 7 started and I went into detail about how I think Euron's story could end. I believe Theon will kill him during his rescue attempt for Yara. Now I have to clarify this, Theon might die in the process, but I strongly believe Theon will be the one to take Euron down. Yara tried to save Theon while he was a prisoner of Ramses, and in Season 8, Theon will return the favor, but he will give a much better effort than Yara did. I believe that is the tip of Theon's redemption arc. They have kept this man alive for all these years for a reason. I think if they wanted to kill Theon off before this, they could have killed him right after he saved Sansa's life, but that obviously wasn't the end of his arc. Theon needs to face his fears. Theon never got the chance to take Ramsay on, but he will get that redemption through his uncle Euron. I know it seems very unlikely that Theon can pull this off, but trust me, this will happen. That little speech that Jon gave to Theon at the end of Season 7 helped him tremendously. It gave him that closure that he truly needed with the Stark family. When Jon told Theon he was still a Stark, it closed that hole left in his heart from turning his back on Robb. Now, Theon did have many reasons to turn his back on Robb, but regardless of the fact, Theon has always felt hurt since he did this because he did it for the wrong reason. He did it for the wrong father. Theon might have been a ward, but he was still a Stark, and hearing Jon say those words gave Theon the courage and confidence again. He faced his fear and didn't run when he was confronted with a challenge. He kicked the Ironborn man's ass, then he bent down and washed the blood off his face with the salt water. And that was Theon's baptism. What is dead may never die, but rises again, harder and stronger, strong enough to defeat his uncle Euron Greyjoy. I have Qyburn on my death list too. I never really made a video about Qyburn yet, but I think he will die in this final season, along with Cersei and the Mountain. But I'm gonna have to make a separate video about Qyburn's death though, because it's gonna take me a while to explain exactly how I think he's going to die. So let this be a little bit of a tease for a future video. Because I think you will enjoy my Qyburn death prediction. I think it makes perfect sense in my mind, but it's gonna take its own video for me to explain it properly and to add a few clips as evidence. I might actually make that the next video, so keep your eyes open for that one, and I will announce the next winner in my next video too. I already ordered and shipped the A Song of Ice and Fire collection to Kiara James, so I think it's a good time for me to announce the next winner in the very next video. And the person who gets randomly selected next will get to pick whichever prize they want between the World of Ice and Fire novel and the Game of Thrones Monopoly game. So good luck to everyone else that has entered the giveaway, and I want to thank everyone for watching today's video. I appreciate that as always. I also want to thank every single one of my Patreon supporters who continue to support this channel month after month. That really does mean a lot to me, and I hope everybody has a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.